before wireless mice, before plug-and-play, before the internet was more than a science experiment. There was the 1980s, a decade where computer accessories weren't just gadgets, they were glimpses into the future. Some were so ahead of their time that they disappeared before the world could catch up. Others left behind traces that still live in the devices we use today. From styluses that predated iPads to gloves that whispered of virtual reality, these forgotten inventions were the stepping stones to the digital world we live in now. Welcome to Obsolete Yet Iconic, where we celebrate the gadgets and innovations that shaped our world, even if time forgot them. Today, we're diving into 10 forgotten 1980s computer accessories that were decades ahead of their time. And if you remember using any of these, you were living in tomorrow. It's 1980, and you want your computer to talk to another computer. There's no Wi-Fi, no Ethernet, no broadband. Instead, you dial a phone number, hear the screeching handshake of a modem, and carefully place your telephone handset into a foam-lined cradle. This was the acoustic coupler. It converted digital data into audio tones, sending them over phone lines. Literally, it made computers speak across the country. Drop the phone and your connection was gone. It was slow. It was fragile. But it was the ancestor of everything from remote work to video calls to cloud backups. The acoustic coupler was the first whisper of a connected world, long before the word internet meant anything to most people. Long before the Apple Pencil, there was the light pen. A chunky stylus wired to your computer that let you draw directly on your CRT screen. It worked by detecting the electron beam as it scanned across the glass. Point, click, draw, no mouse required. In the 1980s, CAD designers, artists, even early gamers used light pens for pixel-perfect precision. But there was a catch. Holding your arm up to the screen for hours gave you what users called gorilla arm syndrome. Not exactly ergonomic. Still, the light pen was decades ahead of its time. It was the first step toward intuitive, hands-on interaction, the ancestor of touchscreens, digital whiteboards, and stylus-driven tablets that are everywhere today. In 1983, Koala Technologies released something extraordinary, the KoalaPad, a pressure-sensitive drawing tablet for home computers like the Apple II and Commodore 64. With a simple flat pad and a stylus, suddenly your computer wasn't just a number cruncher, it was a canvas. You could draw pixel art, sign your name, even write out words. The KoalaPad even recognized handwriting, a feature that wouldn't become common until smartphones decades later. Why was it ahead of its time? Because it shifted computers from calculators into creative tools. Every Wacom tablet, every iPad Pro, every Surface Pen owes a debt to this humble gray pad from 1983. Before inkjets and lasers, there were thermal printers. Compact machines that used heat to burn images onto special paper. No ink, no messy ribbons, just chemistry and heat. They were portable, quiet, and surprisingly rugged. You could print a spreadsheet in your hotel room or a graph at a trade show. No maintenance required. The problem? The paper was expensive, and the images faded fast. Your hard copy could literally vanish over time. And yet, thermal printing never truly died. Every receipt at a grocery store, every barcode on a shipping label, every lottery ticket you buy, that's thermal printing. A forgotten 1980s accessory that still lives in our everyday lives. Now you're playing with power. In 1989, Nintendo unveiled the Power Glove, a sci-fi accessory that let you control video games with gestures. Flex your fingers, wave your hand, and your movements translated onto the screen. It used ultrasonic sensors and flex sensors, making it one of the first consumer VR controllers. Sure, it was clunky and only a handful of games supported it. But the idea? Revolutionary. The Power Glove became a cult icon, remembered more for its commercials than its gameplay. But its DNA lives on in every VR glove, Wii controller, and motion-sensing gadget today. It was the future, just a little too soon. When IBM launched the PCJR in 1984, they wanted to make the PC more family-friendly. Their boldest change? The chiclet keyboard. Flat, rubbery keys that resembled chewing gum and felt like typing on a toy. The keyboard was mocked. Critics hated it. But here's the twist. It was wireless. Using infrared, the PCJR's keyboard cut the cord decades before Bluetooth made it standard. The chiclet keyboard may have been a flop, but its wireless technology was a glimpse of the future. Today, almost every keyboard in homes and offices has followed its lead. Before laptops had trackpads, before we learned to pinch and swipe, there was the Keytronic touchpad. A small, smooth square that let you move the cursor by sliding your finger across it. No moving parts, no mouse ball to clean. It was compact, durable, and futuristic, but it came too early. The idea didn't catch on until the 1990s. Now, every laptop, every Chromebook, every MacBook relies on a descendant of this forgotten accessory. The Keytronic touchpad was simply a prophecy, one the world wasn't quite ready to believe. In an an era when floppy disks held kilobytes and hard drives barely cracked a few megabytes, one machine stood apart: the Bernoulli box. It was a massive external drive that accepted thick cartridges, each capable of storing up to 20 megabytes, an astonishing amount for the early 1980s. The technology was rugged. Inside each cartridge was a flexible magnetic disc held just microns away from a rigid plate, reducing wear and protecting data. This made it far more reliable than fragile floppies. For businesses, it was a lifesaver. You could back up your entire system, carry it under your arm, and restore data anywhere. The Bernoulli box was the ancestor of every external hard drive, every USB stick, and every cloud storage service we take for granted today. While Nintendo's Power Glove was a toy, there was a serious version, the Data Glove from VPL Research. It looked like something out of a cyberpunk movie. A black glove with wires and sensors trailing up the arm. It used fiber optic sensors to measure finger movements and position tracking to translate hand motions into a virtual world. For the first time, a human could reach into a computer simulation and interact with it. NASA tested it. Universities experimented with it. Science fiction writers fell in love with it. And while it cost thousands of dollars and never went mainstream, it planted the seed for VR as we know it. Every VR headset, every motion capture system, every haptic glove owes its lineage to the Data Glove. A piece of 1980s tech that literally put the future in your hands. And finally, at number 1, the expansion box. In the 1980s, computers were small and limited, but expansion boxes promised infinite possibility. Plug one into your computer, and suddenly you could add memory, graphics cards, extra ports, even a second processor. It was modular computing, decades before we used words like docks or external GPUs. For power users, it was a way to push their machines beyond factory limits. For visionaries, it was a glimpse of a future where computers could grow with us, not be replaced every few years. Today, expansion is everywhere. Thunderbolt docks, external drives, eGPU enclosures. But in the 1980s, it was a radical dream, one that hinted at a modular future just out of reach. From the acoustic coupler that whispered the first internet connections, to gloves that reached into virtual worlds, the 1980s were full of bold experiments. Many forgotten, but none wasted. Because every failure, every misstep, every gadget too far ahead of its time, built the world we live in today. This was obsolete yet iconic. If you enjoyed this countdown of forgotten 1980s tech, hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe. Because the next episode might just feature a gadget you once owned and forgot.